This is the Nissan Magnite, the last resort for the Japanese mark in the Indian market, and it has done pretty well for the brand. Till now, it has received over 35,000 odd bookings, and the waiting periods have climbed up to 6 months for some variants. So, we have been driving this for a week now, and we have some interesting key points to share. So, please watch this video till the end if you are contemplating to buy a Nissan Magnite, and also subscribe to the channel if you feel like, because we have a lot of new content of the Magnite and other various cars as well. Talking about the looks of the Nissan Magnite, the looks are very promising and very appealing at the first glance. While there are some design elements taken from the Datsun family of cars, especially the front profile, the rest of the design is very attractive. The front profile of the car is dominated by a Destiny's grille, which interestingly wears the new Nissan logo, which is first in India. Even the L-shaped DRLs are carried over from the Redigo. The grille is flanked with thick chrome borders, and the lower part of the bumper also wears some chrome embellishments. The Magnite is also jeweled with all LED lights at the front. Even the fog lights are LEDs for that matter. The LED headlight sits on the top, unlike the case with every other new car these days. Nissan has slapped some prominent body cladding on the side of the Magnite, and chrome treatment around the windows is distinctly visible. The wheel size is R16 as standard, and the top spec XV Premium comes with dual tone alloy wheels. Onto the back, and you will be genuinely impressed by the glance. The Magnite doesn't feel like a chop off from the back and has a very bold stance. Credit goes to the inverted crease and large lettering. If we nitpick, Nissan could have provided a shark fin antenna and LED taillights at the back. However, the casing for the taillights have been designed to mimic the LED feel. In a nutshell, the Magnite is beautifully designed and can be called one of the best looking offerings in its segment, if not the best. Now talking about the dashboard of the Nissan Magnite, it is very sporty and gets the Urus inspired AC vents. The central instrument cluster is fairly bright, but some call it a little bit gimmicky, and I kind of agree to that because the graphics are very childish in my opinion. The steering is only adjustable for the tilt, not for the telescopic feature. Steering also gets audio controls and cruise control, and the steering is very small in size and fits in our hands properly. The quality of the stocks is decent for the segment, not very great. We get all black interiors, which also includes this unique pattern on the center bolster of the dashboard. The glove box is fairly spacious, but one thing to note is that it doesn't fit properly whenever you go over bumps. One thing worth noting that is that the central armrest in the car isn't adjustable, nor it can be used to store anything. We have two cup holders here, and this is a 5-speed manual gearbox of the car. Ahead of the gearbox, we have some storage space here, a 12-volt charging socket and a USB port. This is a placement of the start-stop button, which is reminiscent of the Renault Triber and the Renault Kaigo. I think many of you don't know that, but the Nissan Magnite gets a wireless charger. On top of it, it is a 15-watt fast wireless charger, which its Korean rivals doesn't get. These are the controls for the defogger, emergency lighting, and the lock and unlock for the car. The touchscreen gets fairly big bezels around it, and you also get 360-degree parking camera, which is really helpful whenever you are maneuvering it around town. The infotainment system also provides the driving eco, which tells you how you can improve your driving style. So the rear seat space of the Magnite is really great, and I really appreciate how Nissan has managed to cram in so much space in a car which is measured under 4 meters. As you can see, I stand 6 feet tall, and the front driver seat is adjusted to my driving position. And still I have got enough knee room and enough headroom. There's an ample amount of space inside the cabin, and as the windows are fairly large, we have some good ambience coming inside the car. The seats are black and are of fabric, these seats are not leather. The seat cushioning of the Nissan Magnite is on the softer side, and if you are commuting on a longer duration, you can feel some tiredness inside the car. Other than that, even the underside support is not that great for someone who is tall like me. Considering the price the Magnite comes at, we have some fabric cushioning on the door pads of the car and some silver accents. One cheap feeling inside the Nissan Magnite is that we get pull-up type door locks, which is 290s in today's day and age. Another thing I really appreciate about the Nissan Magnite is the presence of all 4 adjustable headrests extended across the range. So the headrests are adjustable and are quite cushiony, and you can just rest your head on them. We also have rear AC vents, and this is the flow control. We also have 12-volt charging socket down below, but you do not have any storage space for a mobile phone or any neck and neck. Putting the armrest down, we have 2 cup holders. The size is not that deep, but you also get a phone holder here. There is one grouse which we have with the Nissan Magnite's rear seat. You see that the front seats are mounted in such a way that their mounting points hamper in the footwell area of the rear passengers. So if you want to tuck in your feet under the rear driver seat or the passenger seat for the matter, you cannot do so because half of the area is occupied by the mounting points for those seats itself. So Nissan could have worked it out better to incorporate more space on the footwell area. We are just 2 people inside the car, and as you can see, the car is a bit moving because the road isn't very nice, and the suspension of the Magnite is a bit soft and bumpy. So when the car does not have 5 passengers per se, the car moves a lot, and it only improves once you fit in more passengers inside the car. So right now the suspension is good, but you feel a little bit of bumps over a series of bumps. The steering of the Magnite is not very hard, but whenever you are maneuvering in town, or say you are making a 3-point turn, you really feel the hardness of the steering, as it is quite hard to maneuver while doing 3-point turns. And unlike the Kiger, it does not get driving modes by which you cannot alter the steering response of the car. The thing to point out is that this is a fairly new car. It has done only 1500 kilometers, and still there are some squeaks coming from the glove box side, and I've tried everything. Whatever is in the glove box, I have taken it out, but still there are a lot of squeaks and rattles which are coming from that side. Okay, so now we will show you the acceleration of the Nissan Magnite. So first thing first, the handbrake is disengaged. We will turn off the emergency lights. We will also turn off the AC just to get maximum performance out of it. The traction control is off, as you can see. So let's see how it performs. Driving it to the 3000 RPM mark, and okay, second gear tops at 97, and there's a rev limiter coming in. In third, it touches around 120 easily, but I won't go more than that because that's the maximum speed limit I can attain in this particular road. Sharing some more details about the powertrain front. This one is a 1-liter turbocharged manual. It produces 100 PS of power and 160 Nm of torque. This is paired to a 5-speed manual gearbox, which isn't particularly the best in its segment. The shifts are a bit notchy to get a little bit intrusive whenever you want to have a quick change. Other than that, the gearing is quite tall. As you saw earlier, I got 297 km/h in second gear itself. So that shows that the gearing is quite tall, and that also puts out an adverse effect on the overtaking capability of this car. So if I am in the 5th gear, I am at 50 km/h, it will take literally ages to perform an overtake, because the 5th gear is very tall and has been engineered to give amazing fuel economy, which it does. Other than that, if you want a quick overtake, you have to downshift and then you get some progress. As you can see, now the turbo is pulling up and the car is the response of the Magnite is not the best. It is a bit artificial, but it never feels unnerving on high speeds. You get a good confidence out of it, but it's just that it's not the most responsive in its class. So the acceleration of the Magnite is pretty decent, and it is more tilted towards the city driving experience rather than having acceleration runs on the highways. So a small push at the pedal gives you a good surge of power, but is never a very powerful feeling. Other than that, as the engine always stays in the power band, you really do not feel the turbo lag while on the highways. But even in the city, whenever you push the car a bit higher in a right gear, the car does return performance on that front also. Coming to the braking of the Nissan Magnite, in this area I am quite impressed with it because unlike other Renault and Nissan cars which we test drove earlier, this one has a very precise braking. The pedal wheel is also very confidence inspiring. It's not spongy and it's not very wooden feeling either. If I demonstrate you once the road gets clear. So now we are at 50 kilometers per hour and one push of the pedal is very confidence inspiring. The car doesn't move out of its line. It stops dead center. So on braking front, no complaints from the Nissan Magnite. Nissan has done a good job in the braking department of the Magnite. It is just that the ABS is very intrusive, and whenever you are on a muddy patch of the road, you get a lot of thrumbling noise from the braking system. So summing it up for you, the Magnite comes out as a brilliant package for you. What you get are the refreshing and luring looks, loaded interiors, brilliant space and practicality. It surely has some downers like not so premium plastics when compared to rivals, stiff ride and compromised NVH. But you see the pros are always overcoming the cons. So if you want the car which is head and shoulders above your regular hatchbacks and sedans, even at a similar price, the Magnite hits the bombshell for you.